companions, who are regarded as the first martyrs of the Armenian Church. Virtually nothing is known about their lives or their martyrdom. The legends that have come down to us over the centuries have many of the elements of a fairy tale, especially the story of Cinderella. Now, the Emperor Diocletian, who I've talked quite a bit about in these series of shows on the legends of the early saints, one day decides to marry, and he sends for the imperial portrait painter and tells the artist, "Go forth and paint all the beautiful maidens in Rome, so that I may choose my bride from the most lovely among these paintings." Now, the painter does his work with such thoroughness that he even penetrates into the house of the virgins and makes the likeness of the Christian maidens. The house of the virgins is essentially a nunnery. Saint Gianna presides over the community of consecrated virgins, and among them is the beautiful Rhipsime. Rhipsime's beauty is in fact legendary. Rhipsime's portrait soon reaches the Emperor Diocletian. Diocletian examines the painting of the beautiful Virgin and falls instantly in love with her likeness. "This is her," says the Emperor. "This is the one who will be my wife and empress." Rhipsime is duly informed that fortune has smiled upon her, but she is not too thrilled with the prospect of marriage to Diocletian and the loss of her chastity. Marriage to the emperor was not exactly something one could do and still maintain their virginity. Well, Rhipsime, weeping, runs into the arms of Gianna, the leader of the consecrated virgin community, and asks her, "What shall I do?" Well, Gianna loads up the entire virgin community on board a ship. Both Rhipsime and Gianna are of noble Roman birth, and the consecrated virgins do not lack funds. They quickly set sail for Alexandria, make their way through the Holy Land, and settle in Armenia. They become weavers in the royal capital of Varla Shaput. But Rhipsime's beauty cannot be hidden for very long, and the lovely virgin soon attracts the attention of King Tiridates, who sends word to Emperor Diocletian. Now, there's a variation in this. In this variation, Diocletian discovers Rhipsime's whereabouts and sends a letter to Tiridates, insisting that he send her back or take her for himself. Tiridates, either way, decides to keep Rhipsime for himself, well, the virgin maiden is now in serious trouble. The Armenian king sends a stately delegation to escort the girl to his palace. The king's servants finds her among her companions, which are, of course, nuns, and they urge her to follow the king's wishes. Rhipsime prays to God for deliverance, and soon a great storm breaks out. The thunder and lightning frightens the horses and makes them scatter. The king is, of course, not too pleased when the delegation fails to return with the beautiful virgin nun. Well, he decides to send in some muscle, and the soldiers bring the lovely maiden to the royal court. The Armenian king, like all who saw Rhipsime, is awed by her beauty, but the virgin rejects him. She tells the king, "I cannot marry you. I am the bride of Christ." The royal court then hears a voice from heaven, Be brave and fear not, for I am with you. There's a variation at this point in the legend. The king is so attracted to Rhipsime's beauty that he tries to embrace her. Rhipsime not only resists his advances, but throws the king to the floor, and the king, in a rage, orders her to be put in a prison cell. Either way, Rhipsime is locked up in a deep, dark dungeon. But somehow, the young girl, the young virgin, manages to escape and return to her companions in the convent, where she is comforted by the other consecrated virgins. The next morning, the Armenian king is informed that the young and beautiful woman has somehow gotten away, has somehow gotten free. She dares to defy my will, says the Armenian king. Then she and all her companions will pay for their disobedience. He sends out an army of his best soldiers to the convent in order to mete out his wrath. Rhipsime is to die, along with all the other maidens. We have varying accounts of their martyrdom. In one account, the king, Tiridates, orders Rhipsime to be tortured. Her tongue is cut out. Her stomach is cut open. And she is blinded before being killed by the sword. Her body is then cut to pieces. The bravery of Rhipsime inspires some of the other consecrated virgins. Gianna and 2 other nuns give themselves up to the same treatment before being beheaded. The rest of the women are put to the sword, and their bodies are thrown to the wild beasts to be devoured. In another variation of the legend, Gianna and all her virgins, which is 37 in total, I believe, are put to death, dispatched to heaven, brutally slain by the sword. In this legend, one girl, in this variation of the legend, one girl, Saint Marame, is actually dragged, pulled by the hair from her sickbed, and then put to death. In this variation, Rhipsime is roasted alive and then torn limb from limb. Either way, it's not exactly the same ending as the fairy tale Cinderella. Now, only one of the young women manages to escape, manages to slip away. This is Saint Nino. Nino becomes the apostle of Georgia in the Caucasus, and is praised as the founder of the Georgian Orthodox Church. Rhipsime and all the other virgins die sometime around 290 A.D. Now, the Armenian king, Tiridates, and his soldiers are punished by God for their evil actions. The soldiers are beset by demons and begin to act like wild animals. They strip naked and run through the forest, gnawing at themselves and each other. The king, according to legend, is turned into a wild boar. In some legends, in some variations, he's turned into a wild bear. Either way, he's saved by the intervention of Saint Gregory the Illuminator, who converts the Armenian king to Christianity, along with the rest of his family and all the nobles. A church is dedicated to Rhipsime circa 618 A.D. In Ikamadizin in Armenia. It still stands to this very day. The church contains her tomb in the underground catacombs. According to legend, Christ himself designates the spot for the shrine by descending from heaven on a shaft of light. Christ then hits the ground with a golden hammer till the earth shakes. Rhipsime is honored by the Roman Catholic Church. Her feast day is September 29th. The Armenian Orthodox Church, of course, also honors her. The Armenian feast day is June 4th. The Greek and Russian Orthodox churches also honor Rhipsime, the feast day being September 30th. And the Ethiopian Orthodox Church also honors Saint Rhipsime. The feast day in the Ethiopian church is October 9th. Now, Saint Rhipsime is known as Arsema in Ethiopia. 3 churches in Ethiopia are consecrated to her. The oldest church by Lake Tana is known for its miracles. The Lake Tana Church contains ancient paintings of her martyrdom and the cruel Armenian king. The cruel Armenian king's metamorphosis into a wild beast. There's a book, an Ethiopian book, that's considered a very, very sacred text, known as the Life of Arsema. Now, what happens to Saint